not muted. Hello, and welcome to episode 23 of the Hardware Diversity Discussion podcast today. So it's episode 3 for 2021, episode 4 for 2021, episode 23 overall, yeah. As I will be saying at the start of every stream, this is the first sort of attempt I've had at doing it live. I did it sort of pre-recorded many years on YouTube. Actually, I should pre-record that. Yeah, let's record it, because in case the stream goes down. Cool, yeah. So this is, Hardware Diversity Discussion podcast, and I'm Cosman50. We've got a very, very special guest on today. We're going to be talking something a little bit different, a lot of mobile stuff, a lot of Apple stuff. So that's going to be pretty cool to see what goes on. As I've been saying at the start of every podcast as well, I will not be paying too much attention to chat unless it is related sort of topics. You know, if you want to add a bit of a statement in, ask a bit of a question, we might interrupt our conversation to do so. But please be wary that no, we won't be paying close attention to chat during our main discussion piece. But at the end, we'll be opening up the floor for more general conversation, more general questions, and a chance at a little bit of AMA towards the end. So stick around for that. I look forward to hearing your bits and pieces as well. Thank you, Mick Baggins, for coming in chat. Also, the sound alerts and things are going to be disabled, and also the alert box is going to be disabled. But I'll keep an eye on what's going on in chat in case there's a raid, in case there's like a subscription or anything like that. I'll sort of interrupt chat a little bit in case there is something like that happening throughout the show. So without further ado, I will unmute Discord. Say a very, very warm welcome to Austin from InnocentElixir. Come and say hello. Welcome.
Hey there.
Hello.
How's it going? Hello, chat.
It's good. Yeah. So, as I do with every show here, and this one's no different. Just sort of a little bit about yourself, and sort of what got you into streaming, and also maybe some interesting tidbits about tech that you want to be sharing with the show. Just maybe a little bit of discussion piece. Yeah. So take it away.
For sure. Hello, I am Austin. I'm from Texas. I started streaming seriously like 6 months or so ago. I got into it a couple years back because I just really enjoyed the Twitch community. And when I was having shit days, I would go and sit in a room full of people and really be at my desk. But I just like the community aspect of Twitch. So that's why I started, and now I do it for advertising and my own selfish things, but also for community.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's Oh, sorry, carry on. I didn't want to interrupt there.
Oh no problem. If you've got questions, throw them at me. But yeah, tech-wise, I went to coding boot camp, so like I know how to code some things. I can do JavaScript and HTML, CSS. Built my own computer as far as hardware goes, but honestly, I'm not the most informed in hardware. I like Corsair, and Corsair is my favorites. Okay. They make stuff that I like, but yeah. Hello. Hi.
Hello.
It's me.
Yeah. Feel free to drop your links in chat as well. They are turned on for this particular show. I don't normally allow that, but feel free to do that.
That's me.
That's cool. Awesome. Yeah, no. Very, very happy to have you on. And as I said to you earlier, I've been very surprised at the uptake of the show, and how quickly it sort of evolved.
It's wild.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is actually. And so thank you very much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to come and join me today.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Have you had a chance to read over the topics, or you're going completely blind today?
I have read over some of the stuff that we're talking about. Okay. Some of the things I know of, some of the things I don't know of. I do like talking AMD though. AMD stuff is fun. Okay. I'm not a fan of Apple, so I'm interested to hear what you have to say about it. And I really wanted a Huawei phone, real bad.
Okay.
But I can't get one.
Okay. Yeah, true. Yeah, I suppose we'll be talking maybe a little bit about that during the show. And I did actually do a little bit of an AMD special for my first show back doing this live. So if I had known that, I would have rescheduled that aspect of things for a little bit later on. So I do apologise with that sort of thing. But yeah, I'm sure we can talk a little bit about that during the end as well, for sure. We are here actually. Before we get going, we do this. I think I may have said on my show before, but this is in fact my artist, and so I'm very, very pleased to sort of make the reveal and announcement today that my logo is about, what would you say, 98% finished, 99% finished,
right around there,
and so
tweaking some colors maybe.
Yeah. So we are actually just about to sort of say a big reveal to that, and so here we go. Here it is. Hype. I don't actually have a hype command, but that's okay. We are here. I still have hype. Yeah, absolutely. Hype. Yeah. So this is it. So it's certainly come out better than expected. And I'm very, very pleased with the result and what it sort of turned out, because I had literally no idea what I wanted when I came into this. I knew my HD full stop D logos, it was many years old, and I knew that sort of becoming an affiliate now and sort of doing this more seriously, I thought something to represent the channel a little bit more, in the way that it's sort of structured would have been useful, and because affiliate came to me so quickly. Like I had come into it thinking, I'll never get there, it'll take a few months, I'll start those conversations with people about how I'm going to sort of move forward with that, and I had nothing when it came in, and so I'm very, very pleased to sort of, it's starting to fall into place. I've got the sub badges now, I've got the logo now. Ooh. And it's sort of it's getting there, it's really, really getting there, and so this is sort of the big piece of the puzzle, sort of out of the way. And as everybody knows, I will probably share it to chat again. I don't think I've shown it on the podcast yet, but if we do eventually get to 10 subscribers, this is where this logo is going to go on this particular piece here, and I will probably be shipping it worldwide. So all you have to do to be in that is to follow me, and I will be drawing that live when I do get to 10 subscribers, and who knows, it could be one of you folk.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, so absolutely, it's been on the cards for years now, and I thought finally it's a way to give back. So really, really excited. Thank you very, very much for getting that ready for today. And,
I liked the project actually, because like hardware wise, there's not a lot that I thought of off the top of my head that's like an object that's readable.
Yeah,
and then the computer base, it's good. It's I didn't expect it to be that good either.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. Yeah, it's something that it sort of does have a Corsair vibe to it, for what I've as you said earlier. So that's all
I
cool.
Can see that.
Yeah. And it's as you said, something that's readable, not too small, sort of distinguishable, so you know exactly what it is when you look at it. And so very, very pleased to sort of see what that looks like. And as I said, thank you very much for your commitment to that project. So we're in.
We're in.
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right. So so as we sort of talked about, I'll turn Chrome on. Our first topic for today is Apple. To get my sort of bias out of the way, right off the bat. No, I don't like Apple. I've never been a fan of their products, and I have sort of briefly mentioned that on the show before. But I suppose they do some things, and they have innovated in ways that you wouldn't normally have expected. So that's really cool, and I can't give them, can't sort of be mad at them for that. So we're going to talk about what that is today, and the big thing that's been on everyone's lips between 2019 and today is the fourth and final part to that series, which has been going since the first live episode has been going 4 episodes ago. So this is the Apple M1 chip, which is the CPU that powers basically everything Apple now, the iPad, the iMac, the iPad, and the MacBook is powered by... The iPhone doesn't yet have the silicon in it, but I'm predicting it's probably a little bit too powerful to do that. So we will, we'll talk a little bit about why that is during this. But yeah, so this is a custom piece of ARM silicon that has been produced through TSMC, which is the Taiwanese plant, which is very, very popular, and it really is quite astounding what this is. It's an 8-core, 16-thread chip on with obviously 4 megabytes of cache. But the thing about it is, because it's this ARM, it's an ARM system on chip, which is what they use to describe everything sort of integrated into one processor, is it uses CPU cores to do its GPU work. And that's sort of what's... I didn't know that. I actually sort of had to wrap my head around that initially when I sort of first looked this up. But that is what ARM does, because it's a very light instruction set system compared to x86. And so it's got a dedicated AI engine. It's got its own RAM controller built in, and all that really interesting things that make it really interesting. It's very because it's ARM. It's very power efficient. You're consuming about 30 or 40 watts for the whole system, compared to about 100 or so for an equivalent Intel based system. So obviously with that lighter instruction set, it doesn't have to do as much computation, and therefore it can accelerate things a lot quicker. And that's why phones, run on less horsepower than you do on your compared to your computer, doing the same sort of stuff, is because of what they do behind the scenes. And I guess for me, it is something quite different, because obviously Apple has been using Intel CPUs for a long time. They actually were going to go with AMD back in the day, because they had a better package with their integrated graphics. Back when the Core 2 Duo was out, the Athon X64 was a better low-powered system, but they decided to go with Intel because that's what Apple does. But they used PowerPC before that, which is the IBM system, which is again quite custom. Don't hear of much of them nowadays, but they do exist. So yeah, I guess as a sort of the next part of the topic sort of talked about, this was predicted way back in 2019 about when this was actually going to happen, and it was quite a shock really, because they obviously built their ecosystem really, really strongly around x86, about their Linux support, and about how everything was running native on their system, and to go straight to ARM, it was like, whoa, okay, they were trying to merge all their systems together, so every the iPhones, the iPads, iMacs all run on the same operating system, which means app development is a hell of a lot more streamlined, and it means that they can sort of know exactly what they're dealing with. And yeah, as I say, I don't like Apple. It pissed me off to the max, and I would probably never buy one of their products. But I've got to, as I said, I've got to give credit where credit's due, and I sort of wanted to sort of hear your initial thoughts before we go into the performance of this chip very, very shortly. But yeah, what had you sort of I assume you sort of hadn't really kept up with what's been going on in that space, and sort of hearing that and seeing that, it's like, yeah, what do you... I've been rambling now for a little bit longer than I should have. So
no,
yeah,
no problem.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, that's interesting. I also am in the same boat of not really loving Apple products. It's really easy to see that they make their stuff to break, and yes. I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah,
I think that's not a good way to, I don't know, take care of your customers.
Absolutely.
So for me, my problem with them is a lot with that. But I do know that they do, ingenuity is something that they definitely do. I hadn't kept up with this at all. I didn't know that they had a new chip. It is interesting. I was trying to keep up with all of your jargon, but yeah, if they're making bigger, or I guess they're not even bigger. They're just like running more on less.
Yes. Yeah.
That seems pretty good.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, I'm trying not to insert too much of the subjectivity rather than the objectivity into this, because I could go on for days about right to repair and their stance on that sort of thing, because I have been keeping up a lot with that. But as I say, it is what this is, and it was quite a big blow, because I thought Intel, I would say Apple was probably one of their biggest customers up until that point, and realistically that's probably why they were putting so much innovation into their laptop space, because they were trying to really keep Apple on board, and they were trying to really make sure that they could compete with that in the mobile sector. But obviously they found that even with their translation layer, their Rosetta software stack that translates the x86 programs into the ARM instruction sets, they can still outpace Intel. And there's another PC Mag article. Man, everything was PC Mag today.
So are they putting these chips in all of their products from here on out, or just like the newest gen things have this?
Yeah, it's I believe the 2020 MacBooks were the first ones to get it. The iMac now has it. Yeah, the iPad I believe has it. The iPhone is still running on the A14 chipset, which is technically a custom silicon as well, but it's not quite as beefed up as what you see in the M1. But yeah, so 2020 onwards, I believe, was the first gen to have these chips. And that if you are a content creator, and that's sort of why I was sort of interested to say that you don't like Apple, because you like your art and you like your design, and a lot of people who have Macs are those types of people. And
I do a lot of photographers and videographers who will say that that's the only way that they can work.
Yeah, is on a Mac. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so performance, they're looking at about your gaming. Yeah, you can't game on a Mac. Don't even try. So
another reason why I'm out.
I can't. Yeah, exactly. Can't play games. It's getting there. But they don't have. They're not anywhere close. They were getting closer with their iMac Pro, which was their last Intel-based Mac, which had like a Intel Extreme Edition processor. It had like a Radeon Vega graphics, 64 graphics built into it, and into like an all-in-one, like quite a slim chassis. And I guess if you were inclined, you probably could try and game on that, because it was pretty beefy. But yeah, I don't think it's yet to be able to do that on one of these new MacBooks. So yeah, performance absolutely blows anything Intel out of the water by at least 20%, 10-20%, which is quite, and it's about twice as fast as their 2020. It might have been the 2021 generation MacBooks. Oh, because it says 2020. Maybe it was an early 2020. I'm thinking that maybe the late ones might have had this chip. I don't know. I don't really keep up with it too much. But transcoding, video editing, absolutely great. Gaming, they've done some gaming benchmarks. It seems to be actually. It looks like you can play some games. Battery life is pretty incredible. Obviously, because the lower power consumption and the lighter instruction sets means you can run more or less, as you say. And it's sort of crazy to see sort of that they've actually been able to optimize it, even though there's not a lot of native ARM supported apps yet on Mac. As I said, it's getting there. And Linux, with Valve, with Linux now giving that a real support with gaming and stuff, because obviously Mac OS X is built on Linux. If they can transport that support for mainstream Linux onto an ARM processor, then in theory gaming actually might be you could try at least then. you know, it's not going to be great, but you might be able to do something. So yeah, it's just I was quite blown away to sort of see this when it first came out, because that video from Cortex, who you don't hear much of nowadays, very, very informative stuff. If you're really nerdy and into that sort of thing, go follow his channel. I'm not going to watch it here today, but yeah, he sort of did a bit of a piece on what ARM is to Microsoft and to Apple, and that's sort of when the prediction started, which was 2019, when they're like, actually, they're going to do this, and they've certainly confirmed it between now and then. And we'll talk a little bit about what the future of the M1 looks like later in the program, because we've got some bit of tidbits on that there too. So, any closing statements? I sort of didn't want to take over the conversation too much, but I have, and I sort of feel bad for that. But
no, you know so much more than me.
Yeah.
I think that it's cool that Apple's making new stuff that I can be like, oh, cool, good,
yeah,
good. You're doing it.
Yeah, they're doing it
better. I can appreciate that.
Yes, and I think that's as far as I would go too. Like, I don't like Intel either. I've stated that quite publicly too. But I've got to remain impartial, and I think that's the key to sort of appreciating tech, because you can't say you're a tech head if you're like, oh no, I don't like this, I don't like that. It's like that's just sort of cutting your market and cutting people out who claim to be tech heads as well. It's like you've got to help educate, you've got to be informed, and that's sort of partly why I'm doing this. And yeah, it's interesting, and got to talk about all angles for sure.
Right. Can't make a good point if you don't know the other side.
Absolutely. Amen. Amen to that. Yeah.
Amen.
What's left? What's on the topic sheet? Yeah. So we talked about performance. Talked about when sort of came through. Shall we talk about what's been going on the other side of the fence? With cell phones and mobile stuff like that too. Where would you want to start? You want to start with Samsung, or you got anything else that you got thoughts on more so than the rest of them? Or
when I was looking for a phone, I was particularly looking at getting a Huawei because of the camera. The camera on the Huawei is like the best camera that you can get on a smartphone. But at the time, there was like it was like kind of sketchy if I was going to be able to use it for very long here in the US.
Yeah.
And so I ended up just like, well, I don't want to have a phone that I'm not going to be able to use. So I got a Galaxy 21 Ultra, and that's super, super good.
Yeah. Actually, funny thing about, I say Huawei. I've heard it said many ways. And it's like I actually Huawei. Yeah, I've heard it's crazy actually. Like different parts of America will say it differently as well, and it's like, how is it actually said? I've never actually known for sure. But yeah, Huawei. Yeah, they got sued. Did you know that?
Yeah, they got like it was something political, right?
This was something separate to that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, but I'm not. I don't know.
It was probably around when their, Anyway, I can't remember exactly the model of phone it was. Maybe I'll do some quick googling now while I'm talking about it. They got sued for actually their camera on their phones because they claimed it to be better than a DSLR. And they advertised. They ran a sued for alleged image processing. No, okay. Sony sues them for this copyright infringement. No. Yeah. Anyway, they got, maybe it's not. Maybe they've taken it off the internet. But they definitely got sued because they claimed the camera was better than SLR. And they advertised what photos the phone was able to take, and it was taken on SLR. So that was quite hilarious, actually. I thought, yeah, it was. Yeah, that's really, really good. But I cannot sued for camera. Yeah, no, I can't. I cannot see that there. But yeah.
And then wasn't there like a I don't know if I'm saying this right, but like a trade embargo between the U.S. I don't know if
yes, that is for sure. Yeah, no, they claimed that. I mean, we kind of try not to keep this too political, I suppose, but since you bring it up, they claimed that Huawei was a client of the Chinese military, and they were spying. They had backdoors into their products, and they were able to sort of gather more intel than they probably should on you. But if you're on the internet, you've surrendered your soul to whoever you've surrendered your soul to anyway. So, like, realistically. Yep. Whether it's the Chinese or the Americans spying on you, take your pick.
Yep, I totally agree with that.
So they Google blocked access to Android on Huawei phones. So actually, in the Play Store, they cannot have. But I think they've slightly backtracked on that. I think they are actually allowed to run a derivative of Android. Whether it's exactly Android, I'm not 100% sure, but that was back a couple of years ago. And it was kind of funny because I own a Xiaomi, the XAIMOI phones, which is pronounced Xiaomi, a Chinese thing. Actually, amazing value for money, but they were threatened as well under that embargo because they were claiming that they were a client of the Chinese military, and they were, but they haven't yet blocked access. And I was sort of thinking, my partner was literally just about to buy a phone of theirs at the time. It's like, oh, is that actually going to be able to work? Are we going to be able to use that? And I suppose you're in the same boat about Huawei.
Exactly.
And it's like,
exactly.
Are they actually going to be able to still function? And I don't know whether you can buy Huawei phones in the US. It sounds like you can't. Are they just not a thing anymore?
You can, but like you say, like you won't be able to use them to the fullest extent.
Yeah, which definitely sucks. I
don't know if like people are like selling. I don't think that any like companies are selling them like AT&T or Verizon or whatever. Like none of that's happening. So the only way you can get it is like through like private seller or like maybe Amazon. I was looking on Amazon, but that was a while ago, like a year or so.
Yeah, no, it's crazy because like obviously they felt obviously threatened because they were doing so well in the market, and they were. I think they were more profitable than like majority of other phone manufacturers for a while there. And I was like, oh no, we don't
product. I wish I could use it.
Oh no, we can't have it to overtake Apple as the most sold phone in the US. Oh no, let's block them. It's like, oh jeez, man.
Oh no, protect Apple.
Yeah, protect Apple. Yeah.
Oh, that's what we need.
Yeah, anybody else but in my books. But it's hilarious that they sort of were did that and obviously backtracked a little bit. I think there's some exemptions that they've been allowed through to do certain things that but obviously like a lot of like the government can't own them and all that sort of thing, so it's like there's obviously still some tensions, I suppose you want to pull it lightly, there, and as I said, it's quite hilarious that that's sort of all going on in the background there, but it's hilarious. But Xiaomi, I spent, well, it was about $200 or $300 on something that's as good as basically majority of other phones out there, like the Pocophone F1, which I have up here. It's my old phone. This was actually one of the most well-known Chinese phones. Like, it was actually rated by even like a lot of reviewers out there who do a lot of phone. I don't really follow phone reviews much anymore, but They were saying this was a flagship killer, and it was about $200. It had basically,
Nice.
I think if you flashed it to the Google Nexus ROM, it's not Nexus anymore. Anyway, what do they call it now? What's the Google branded phones?
Oh, Pixel.
Pixel, yeah, the Pixel OS. It runs the same hardware as the Pixel, so you could basically buy a Pixel phone for about half the price of what you could, and it's crazy that they've been able to do that for so cheap. And I mean, and the good thing too is you can actually, because it's got a plastic back, none of this glass bullshit. I hate that. You can fix it, and I've replaced the screen.
Hell yeah.
I've replaced the screen a few times. The battery, the battery still doesn't. It's not like a replaceable battery, but like you can at least get access to it and unscrew it and unglue it and glue another one back in. And it's, the only reason it's spare is because I got that one, which is basically the upgraded version. They've kind of priced their phones a little bit out of the market now though, because that's the Pocophone F1. They've got the Pocophone F3 now, which is a couple of years newer, obviously, and it's almost twice the price, which is like, it sort of wasn't really like, the value wasn't there to get the upgrade. So like I went to the X3, which is their sort of second rank model, and it's good for everything that I do, which is not a heck of a lot on my phone, I guess. Like I've got an SLR and that's what I take photos with and videos with, but if I do need to take one on the fly, it's got a 64 megapixel camera. Can't complain, really, and so
Nice.
Yeah. And
I spent a pretty penny on mine. But
oh yeah, man. I looked at the price when I was looking to buy a new phone. I was like, you can like $2,000 NZ for a S21. And I was
I
like,
got the Ultra too.
yeah,
Spent $1,500 on.
yeah, which is probably closer to $3,000, maybe $2,500. And it's like, yeah, I felt great about spending $500 on mine. I was like, I was like, oh man, like, because I paid off phones. I paid off phones for years. Like I had them on contract, almost ever since I had left high school, and I was used to paying $1,000, $200 for a phone, because I thought, if I was going to get one, I knew, I was going to use it properly, and I just got sick of it. I was like, they're just going up and up in price, and they're not getting any better, realistically any better for what you're paying. Like a little bit, obviously there's some progression there, obviously, but I just thought it's just not worth my time. Like this is not. Like, I'm not one of these people that really use require like a very extremely powerful phone and do everything to I've got a decent PC, I've got a laptop if I need to go on the go, but it's just crazy that you're charging that much. But all tech's going up in price. It's not just phones we're talking about here. And I suppose probably one of the most expensive phones, here's the segue I suppose you're looking for, is the Galaxy Fold.
Oh yeah. I have seen some reviews on that one,
yeah.
and people seem to like it.
Yeah, it's I suppose we can sort of go back a few years and talk about the flexible LEDs that have which powers the Fold phones, and this was predicted all the way back in 2013. They were actually going to make a phone that had like a rollable screen, a foldable screen. I suppose we'll show a little bit of a tidbit of these videos here. Where is this? I'll scroll through the advertisement here a sec. This was actually a Samsung advertisement. Here we go. So like this is what they came up with in 2013. A Android foldable phone. And then there was also later on in the advertisement there was one, where is it? There was one with oh, here he goes. Here's the buddy complete nerd. Here's one that have a scrollable screen, which was like, I remember seeing this at the time. I was like, no way, this is happening anytime soon. No way. But you fast forward 10 years, and they're pretty bloody close. Like they're actually, obviously the original Galaxy Flip. I think the Flip was the first one, not the Fold. wasn't good. It had a lot of reliability problems. The screens would sort of turn off because it would have too much pressure on the connections to power half the screen, and it wasn't very durable. But it seems that they've actually fixed it now, and I don't actually have an article for that. Oh well, that's okay. We can talk about that. But yeah, they're even more expensive than the S21. Like they're I think
really?
I think the Galaxy Fold and the Galaxy Flip might be more expensive than the regular ones. Because I remember seeing, I don't know if you'd seen, maybe a year or two ago, the Motorola Razr, the rehashed one that they did.
I don't remember that.
Okay. It's the...
I missed it.
yeah, I think you did. Motorola Razr 5G.
I had a Razr. That was like
that was so cool, man.
I had a pink one.
Yeah, they were legit. Yeah, here you go. This is what came out. 2020. Oh, okay, so it's not that old. It's not actually that old. I thought it was a little bit older than that, but this was, I think, a little bit of a predecessor to the Galaxy Fold. But it's crazy. Like I owned one as well briefly. Mine sort of blew up on its charging bracket. So that sort of sucked. But yeah, it's got two screens. It's got a big screen in the middle, and it's a complete flip top, which is obviously a real throwback to probably 15, 20 years ago, when everyone had one. But yeah, so that was sort
you
of...
had a BlackBerry or like the flip phone, and then the iPhone.
Oh, the BlackBerry. Dude, that's a throwback.
The little keypad.
Yeah. Oh, dude, yeah, that's crazy that BlackBerries... They got a lot... They are sadly defunct now.
Yeah. It's like carrying a keyboard around with you. Yeah, who needs that anymore?
Yeah, well, they even made touch phones towards the end of their life cycle, and they actually still had like the BlackBerry sort of OS on them, which was actually very...
Did they also do like the little pen as well? Like they had a pen that you would like type with and stuff?
Yeah, I suppose like a Galaxy Note, sort of that sort of type situation. Yeah, because obviously they were built for professionals. Like they had their own, they had very known for the very tight security and their business integrations into particular apps and things, which was quite rare for the time because Android was not really a thing. The Symbian Nokia OS was very, very well known, and they sort of wanted to differentiate themselves. And I suppose that's probably what came to the end, really, because they were so different that they weren't mainstream, and if they weren't mainstream, then they weren't getting the support they needed to continue on. And yeah, it was a shame because I suppose nowadays more than ever, a good solid platform for security and business is probably what they need. And I suppose Apple has sort of taken that over to an extent, but yeah, we won't go too much into that.
For sure.
Yeah, but yeah, no, the Fold. Yeah, that was quite crazy to see that come through, because I was like, because that was about 2020 as well, I believe, and they just sort of, it was just took me by surprise again, because I was like, really, they were taking off, they were doing foldable phones. It's like, why? Like, that's not even a thing, but obviously it is, and that's crazy. Yeah, quite wild, for sure. The second part of the Samsung sort of topics here is something that we're both probably quite passionate about. It seems that we sort of talked about earlier. Their partnership with AMD. This sort of came as a bit of a shock as well, that they're actually going to be working with them to produce mobile processors.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it is actually, because it was announced. I mean, this is quite a new article, and maybe it's sort of hinting at when the products may actually be launched. But they announced it way back, maybe a year or two ago. Certainly certainly since I haven't been doing the podcast, it's been quite on people's lips. And yeah, so the next gen Exynos chips are going to be partnered with AMD RDNA 2 graphics, which powers the next gen consoles, the RX 6000 graphics, and the new Rembrandt APUs, which are coming out next year. Finally going away from Vega integrated graphics, which is great because that's long in the tooth now, and they need something a little bit more efficient and a little bit more powerful to go into your integrated solution. So this is going to be, I'm going to be really interested to see how this goes. Because it seems that Snapdragon, the Qualcomm brand of ARM, has actually taken over Samsung in performance, because Samsung used to have the latest generation chips in their phones, and I think Samsung may have dropped off that a little bit now. They seem to be behind Qualcomm, and I think this may be the answer to catch up. And
that's beautiful. I'm a big fangirl for Samsung as well as AMD. So
yeah, so perhaps maybe this might go into laptops as well. Maybe they might do some ARM-based laptops and tablets and things where they can really flesh out the RDNA graphics a little bit more as well, so a little bit more power there when needed. And maybe we could take a little bit more of a fight to Apple with the M1 chips that are obviously dominating that space at the moment. So yeah, really interesting. Qualcomm's obviously got the SQ1, which is their big graphics solution and their big CPU solution as well. So this obviously will be competing with that there too. And yeah, really looking forward to, because I thought I'd bring it up today because that's something that's sort of been going on for a while now, and there's no set date. I'm really keen to see where this does, but maybe CES might see something, which is the Consumer Electronics Show, which is run early January in California. So we'll get to see maybe what goes on there. It might be a virtual event. We might not be able to have too many people in the building, but yeah, it's really exciting, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens, because it's been going on a while now, and surely there's something there to sort of tease us with, because it's something very new and very curious, and I'm sure a lot of people's lips are waiting for either support or not support. So absolutely, other than saying you're a fan girl of AMD and Samsung, any technical aspects that are like, that would be cool.
I mean, not in particular. I guess I was gonna ask, like, how long ago it was when you started using AMD products.
Wow, okay. Yeah, you're gonna talk about AMD in general. Okay, yeah, we can switch things up a bit for sure. I've been a supporter of AMD sort of since I first had my desktop. Yeah, which was because I first had my own desktop about, I'm gonna say, 9 years ago. Yeah,
I didn't realize AMD was much of a thing until I started buying my computer parts, and it was probably like 3 years ago or so.
Yeah,
and I felt like it was something totally new.
It is.
It was something totally new to me.
Yep, and because the thing is they were actually at the top of their game back in the early 2000s. The AMD, the Athlon 64 series was so leaps and bounds ahead of Intel at the time that they had to literally glue CPUs together, not literally, but pretty much glue CPUs together to make it a processor powerful enough to beat AMD at the time. They were rushing, and that was the last time that they were on top CPU wise. Their graphics has sort of been it's had its moments, but they've never really had the same stardom that the AMD Athlon series had. Because the Phenom series wasn't so good, their FX series was crap. That was from 2010 up until recently. That was when they sort of had that real blunder, and people were worried that AMD was just going to go under because they had no way forward. They couldn't restructure themselves to create a new architecture. And then they got Lisa Su, our Lord and Saviour Lisa Su, to AMD. She took over and she revolutionised AMD. And I was so blown away when I first heard of Ryzen back in 2016. I was like, right, this is going to be it. This is what's the saving grace, the arrow in the back of Intel to give them some competition. And quite honestly, that's exactly what happened. And and I guess you can say Intel have finally caught up. They've finally actually done something revolutionary, a ground up rebuild of their architecture to compete properly with AMD now. And maybe AMD's got to go back to the drawing board a little bit to see what they can do with Zen 4, which comes out next year. Because 12th gen is now faster than AMD, than Ryzen 5000 or Zen 3. But yeah,
have you ever had any issues with your AMD products? Anything in particular?
Yeah, I have. Certainly with chipset drivers have not been great. I've had AMD with Radeon. I've had Radeon graphics for actually almost that entire period. I've had the old NVIDIA GPU in between, but realistically it's been AMD. And AMD drivers, I've got to admit, they're crap. They haven't done themselves particular justice in that department. But I suppose their hate isn't entirely deserved because people just haven't learned to configure their stuff properly and haven't learned to set it up in the way that makes it more reliable. Because people just don't want to get down and dirty, and that's why NVIDIA sort of has a little bit of leg up because they know that they work and they're a trustworthy thing. Blah blah blah. Not going to go into that, but yeah, no, and I was a bit sad actually with when they deleted the ability to crossfire GPUs, which is where you can have more than one GPU in a system and link them together and be able to have them play games and all that sort of thing. Because I noticed ever since I had my 290Xs, that's where that block is from, the driver packages slowly they were hiding the settings away, and then they completely got rid of it as of recently, and that's why I've gone back to having one GPU. Which is sad.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was a thing for a long time. NVIDIA actually bought the company way back in the late 90s that had that SLI, which is what they call their multi-GPU system, that had that technology. They literally just bought them because they knew that they wanted to pair multiple chips together to work together in workloads that were able to scale. And obviously games were quite a big push factor of that, but SLI doesn't work now either. They've taken that feature away probably 2 or 3 years ago as well. But yeah, in terms of driver problems, I've got one that's really niggling, really bad.
Yeah,
and that is a USB problem. Do you have USB problems with your because you've got a Ryzen based system as well?
I also only have had one issue, but I'll let you go ahead. Yeah, okay. What's your USB thing?
It's a well-documented problem, and they have claimed to have fixed it, but they have not. It's when you plug a USB 2 device into a USB 3 port, which they have on X570 is USB 3 ports. They intermittently disconnect and reconnect.
That's not just me then. Okay.
No, there you go. The prime candidate is this thing, my Xbox 360 controller, and also this thing, my mouse, which is very old, but I can't quite get it in the shot. No. Yeah, no, I won't try. But yeah, USB. Yeah, my keyboard has been fine. My microphone is also USB 2, and that's been fine. But it's just I have a feeling with my mouse it could be a driver-related thing because the driver is so old it wasn't even designed for Windows 10. I'm thinking that could be part of it. But in terms of my controller, that should be fine. So my solution has been, I spent days trying to figure out something that would keep it connected. I've got a USB 2 hub on my monitor. So I connected so I've got a USB 2 cable running from my computer to my monitor, and I plug my mouse and now my controller into my monitor. It's been fine. And it's just
Nice.
And they said
That's frustrating though.
yeah, it is, because they've said they've released driver updates, they've released BIOS updates to support this particular bug, because it was very well documented. A lot of people were having that problem, and they've claimed to have fixed it, but I see no evidence to suggest that it's actually been solved. So
Well, now I know that I also have that issue.
oh, there you go. Yeah.
My like speaker, sometimes I'll be charging it and it'll just like connect, disconnect. It's like, why did that happen? Why did that happen?
Do you charge them through USB?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Is it like a Bluetooth speaker?
Yep, sure is.
And like it would just like, it wouldn't charge. Like it would just charge. And
just PC. Yeah,
that's strange.
But the thing that really like I built my computer and I kind of like I had only known people that had built Intel computers. So when I was building my AMD computer, it was kind of like I'm a little bit nervous, and we got it all built, no issues. Like button press works first time.
Yeah.
That feels good.
It does. Yeah.
And then Monster Hunter World Iceborne came out, and I wanted to jam it with all my friends when it was fresh, and I would play about 2 minutes worth of it, and GPU would crash.
Oh.
And that happened like 10 or so times, and I was like, I just want to play the game. I tried a whole bunch of stuff, updated drivers, did all the things.
Yeah.
Nothing would work. And then I started looking into it, and it was like anybody with an AMD GPU playing Monster Hunter was not working. It was probably a porting issue for Monster Hunter, but also the drivers from AMD, they like kept trying to fix it. They're like, here's some support for Monster Hunter, but it never worked.
Happened.
So
that sucks.
Rep.
Rep. What GPU do you have again? I've forgotten the exact model.
It's a 5700 XT.
Oh, you got a 5700 XT. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
It's a tank, man.
I
love
is.
it.
Yeah, a good friend of mine bought one after my recommendation as well, and I think his card is actually slightly quicker than mine, which is a bit of a shame, because I have it. It is. It's a shame, but he only plays at 1080p. He should definitely get a new monitor, but because I've got a Radeon 7, which is a very, very rare specimen. How long are you sticking around for? You got time? Do you want to hear a little bit of the story? Or
yeah,
we
can do like 10 more minutes.
10 minutes. Oh, okay. Oh well.
Is that good?
Oh, okay.
We'll take longer. We can do longer.
I mean, like I did. Well, I try and keep it to an hour, but I've found that over the last few episodes, it's been quite difficult. Especially when we're yapping away, it's like, an hour just goes by. But if you need to go, we can sort of cut to the chase with other topics instead of me just yarning.
But whatever you prefer. I can give you some more time too. I figured we were close to an hour, honestly.
We have, it's been 53 minutes. Yeah.
Nice.
So
not bad.
Not bad. But yeah, if you need to go, you can go. But if you've got time to stay for 20 minutes or so, then I can sort of keep things short, and then we can go to the end piece a little bit, and then because I suppose
let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we don't really want to talk about the M1 Pro. We can sort of skip over that. USB-C. We can talk a little bit about USB-C. Yeah, that's a controversial topic a little bit, actually. And actually, we'll briefly go over LG. We need to say goodbye to LG, just briefly.
Saying goodbye?
Yeah, we need to say goodbye to LG. Yeah, we do, because they've shut their doors.
What?
Yeah. No, their cell phone division is gone. As of I think maybe this year, actually. And apparently, they've done a lot of innovative things. And one of the Parada had slow-mo video back in 2007, which was like 120 FPS video. The Optimus 3D, was that 2007? No, that wasn't 2007. No
Time
way.
flies.
Oh, 2011. Yeah, I was going to say 2011. Oh, jeez, man. I thought, no way. No, that was their first ever 3D phone. You see how well that aged, didn't you? 3D buddy stuff. Frick, it had your dual cameras on the back that had... But I suppose you sort of technically take 3D photos now because they do have that depth of field effect, don't they? But this particular... Obviously, these phones had the ability to view that depth of field in like a space-time sort of, on your screen. Like you could sort of have it was almost like a 3D... Yeah, I suppose it was a 3D photo. So that was 2011. That was the first phone to be able to do that. And then the G5. Oh man, they had the G3 as well. Actually, do you remember the G3? Not really. No,
not in particular. I didn't know too many people with LGs. Yeah,
it was.
I'm not surprised that they're closing. Actually, I've got a lot of LG products, but not phones.
Yeah,
Never had
I knew a couple of people with LG phones. I guess they probably priced themselves a little bit. Yeah, like they just weren't. I don't know. Like people just weren't giving them the love. I think that's what it was really because. Yeah, they had the G3 actually had buttons on the back of the phone near the camera. And they were touch.
Oh.
They were touch sensitive. It was kind of it was wild. Like I was like,
I do remember that.
Yeah. That was certainly like an innovative feature. They had the G5 had the first phone to have a dual camera setup, a proper dual camera setup, which used a combination of a wide angle and a regular telephoto lens, which was kind of revolutionary back in 2016.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, they talked about the G3 here. Yeah, the G3 also had the first phone, one of the first phones with a 1440p display, which was crazy actually. Like that was sort of one of the first, not the first, but one of the actual globally available first. I've used 1440p phones. They're kind of weird. Like I had a S6 Edge for a while, and I was like, it's so crisp, but that came out all the way in 2020. When was the G3? There we go. Let's go to a quick Google. I'll keep this brief. 2014. Yep, first phone to have a 1440p screen in 2014. Crazy. And yeah, just lots of bits and pieces. That the G Flex, which was the first phone to have a curved screen. The V20 had a quad speaker setup in a phone, which was like it's just bonkers. Absolutely, like they go to the wall, and like I suppose like pushing the envelope means that you've got to keep up, and I think maybe that's probably what it was. It's like they're really trying to make something different and innovative, and they obviously just didn't have the backing to be able to... Too
much R&D? What?
Yeah. Oh, no, that's not a thing. No. Yeah, that's actually kind of AMD in a nutshell, and we can talk a little bit about that a little bit later as well. But, yeah, so RIP LG. Yeah, they were awesome phones, and kind of sad to see them go because... you've got lots of bricks that look almost exactly the same nowadays. They all look like iPhones, so you can't tell them apart. But LG obviously went out of their way to do things a bit differently, and crazy stuff. Chinese phones. I suppose you talked a little bit about that a little bit earlier. But yeah, Oppo is obviously under that list of those big Chinese brands that are really, really well known, and yeah, Xiaomi obviously doing a lot of things. Yeah, Huawei hostility from intelligence in 2018, of course. Probably just a threat to Apple, which is lovely. But yeah, obviously, other than talking about your sort of wanting to get a Huawei phone, trying not to keeping thing. Oh man, English today. I clipped you. If you want to clip me, that's fine. Trying to not keep it political. What's your like? Have you seen many people around with like Oppo or Xiaomi devices that are in your vicinity? Like, have they sort of, have you sort of come across them often?
I've only seen one Huawei out in the wild, and they were complaining about it and were returning it.
I
haven't seen too many people these days, but it seems like most people are generally going to be, I buy an iPhone or, maybe the Google or Samsung thing.
Yeah.
And I've actually been going into a store that sells phones, like buying the phones. They do you dirty, I feel.
Yeah.
We went in, no specs list anywhere.
Yeah. Oh. What
do you mean no specs list?
No.
What do you go to the back and give me the box? I don't know.
Yeah. At least. Holy cow! Like, I've even.
It was so dumb.
Yeah. Like, I'm paying $2,000 for this, but I could be buying this for $1,000, and it would be a better phone. What?
Mm-hmm.
They just don't want to. Yeah. That's
ridiculous.
Man, I'm.
I feel like a lot of people just aren't very educated about what goes into their computers.
No, they're not, and that's why I'm here.
You're doing good.
Yeah,
you're doing hard work out there.
I try. Yeah.
Like my sister's just like, oh, it's an iPhone. It's great. It's like, no, no.
The only. Okay, I'll put this here. Quote me. Do whatever you want to do with this, but the only reason I feel anybody should ever own an Apple product is if everything you own is Apple.
Yeah.
Like, if you've got an Apple TV, an iMac, an iPad, a MacBook, fine. They all talk to each other.
AirPods, all the shit.
EarPods, yeah, I guess if you want EarPods. Funny thing about EarPods, they claimed to have a high-res audio, but Bluetooth doesn't support high-res audio on the iPhones. So you can't even have that supposed lossless quality on the AirPods when the Bluetooth doesn't support it. I think it was on the AirPods Pro Max, which is like the over-ear ones. They had like their binaural high-res audio. Bluetooth doesn't do it on the iPhone 12. But that's hilarious. And of course they don't have a headphone jack, so you can't plug them in, which is obviously their recommended way to use high-res audio, because Bluetooth is lossless. Well, not very. It's quite lossy. And it's like, oh no, you can't plug them in. So it's like, hilarious. Anyway, USB-C. We'll fit it. Yeah, I mean
that works well into the Apple stuff. It's like if you have products that are just going to fit together, might as well, talk about things that are going to fit together.
Yeah, exactly.
USB-Cs are good. I feel. I feel like it's kind of a rush going into like making them a standard, but like starting to do that is not bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, the Lightning connector has been around a while now, and obviously Apple feels like that's their stakeholder in the mobile business of saying, right, if you want to buy an iPhone, you have to buy our products, and it's like, no, because the iPads have USB-C, the iMacs have USB-C. The MacBooks have USB-C. It's like the only thing left is the iPhone, and I can understand like why they'd be trying to push for that. And I hated micro USB. That thing can go die in a hole in my eyes. It is the worst connector in existence. And I don't know who thought that was a good idea to go. Yeah, let's everyone use that. It's like no, it's terrible. But USB-C is okay. I'm a little bit. I suppose you want to say like on the fence about it, because I know when they initially launched the standard back a few years ago, they made a complete screw up because it's universal. They haven't made it universal because they've actually some systems have gone out of their way to program certain pins to use certain connectors. So like you can't say like, look, I want to charge my my phone through my laptop charger, because that is a thing. Some people have gone out of their way to put put power on certain pins, so you can't actually charge it because it won't recognize the signal going to the other end because it's yeah. So it's like it's kind of like, you know, that could be you could screw up your device because it could be sending power down data pins, you know, because USB-C's got, I think, 24 pairs. It might be a little bit more than that. Can't remember, but it's quite a few pairs, and it's like if you do certain things on certain signals, it's not going to be a good time. Not going to be a good time. So I'm thinking Apple would be a culprit to do that. Like, you would have to buy Apple certified USB-C cables. I can see that, because they'll be like, no, you can't charge our phones on a generic cable because it doesn't meet our quality standards. It's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
just no. But because it's USB. Because the thing about USB 2 was it only had 2 pairs of connectors. You could not screw up how that worked because you had 2 data pins and 2 power pins. You couldn't.
Gotta have it.
It was easy, but USB 3 has 9, and I think USB-C, as I said, has about 24 pairs. So there's quite a few variations, because obviously there's Thunderbolt on USB-C, there's DisplayPort on USB-C, there's obviously Quick Charge, Quick Charge 4, which is like 120 watts can be put through the USB cable if you've got a certified charger.
There's a reason why we do like standards, and if it's gonna be like that where you can just change it up so much, is it really a standard anymore? It's just kind of like more work.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why I'm sort of have been on the fence about USB-C, because it does so many things, and they're trying to, and obviously that's the whole universal aspect of it, but at the same time, because there's that whole like, oh, hang on, this doesn't work with this device because it doesn't have the same, it doesn't put everything down the same lines as what you'd expect. Oh, well, that's, as I said, that's no longer USB. That's taking out the whole heart of what USB is, and putting it into some convoluted way of saying that, oh, just because it's got the same connector means it's USB-C. It's like, no.
Right.
That's why you've got HDMI. That's why you've got Thunderbolt connectors. That's why you've got DisplayPort.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Because you can plug it into the one connector and it will work no matter what you plug it into. It's not a universal standard, but at least it's a standard. You know, if you've got the right cable, if you've got the right connector, it will work. But USB-C, because like laptops, there's a lot of devices out there only have USB-C. It's like, what port does what thing? It's like, it's like, it's a bit much. I think a bit quick, as you said, because there was a bit of a rush to get everyone on the bandwagon, because USB-A is a dying thing. I love USB-A. Don't get rid of USB-A, please not.
Right, absolutely.
But if this is the way it's going to go, it's like, as I said, is it universal? It's like, yeah. I mean, I like the idea that they're trying to combat Apple. They're trying to take them to court, trying to get them to, play the ball game. But if they're going to go about it the Apple way, is that really worthwhile? And I'm sort of in the camp that they do what they want, and because they're so big, it doesn't really matter. And it's a shame. It's definitely a shame, for sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's the end of our. I suppose we can talk about the general pieces now. We'll switch to the live scene V3, and this is where we can invite the audience to sort of come talk to us as well, if there's anybody in chat. I know there's a couple of people there. Sound alerts and the alert box is now turned on, so if you want to sort of come troll me, feel free. This is a more general discussion about particular topics, still tech related in a way. But yeah, if this is what this is about. So yeah, I guess how much time you got? What do you? Yeah, I sort of keep checking here, but I want to make sure that I'm not going too much off a tangent and then realise that, oh crap, I'm late to doing something.
No problem.
No,
all I'm going to be doing is playing Minecraft with Raven, but she she got confused on timing with me, so I told her an hour before I was supposed to, and so she's waiting, but she can wait on me. She's just doing Minecraft.
Ah, okay, yeah. I do apologize if I'm sort of taking.
No. Don't worry about it.
So,
my phone has some AR stuff in the camera settings.
Oh, AR, yeah. I guess, yeah. AR's become, yeah. Like, I suppose I'm more versed with VR than AR in a lot of ways. How long has she been streaming for? Oh, we've got a general question in chat from Mick Baggins. How long? Yeah, we talked about that earlier.
Seriously, for like maybe 6 months or less, but I've been doing it on and off for like 4 years ish.
Oh wow! So like,
so a little bit.
Yeah. So I guess AR is sort of a new
stretched over there.
Yeah. Oh, you are. Oh, you're a bit stretched. Yeah.
No, that's okay.
I kind of had to fit things into a different, but that's okay. Yeah. You're not too. I don't think it's too bad, but I try.
Yeah. Thanks, McBags. McBaggins.
McBaggins. Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to start with the VR stuff and AR stuff, and we can sort of work our way back through, or yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I haven't actually played any VR. I waited in a line at a convention to play a couple years ago, and then they closed before I played.
Oh no! Oh, rude.
So I didn't get to play. I've got some friends who've invited me over for their setups. Like I've got a friend with like a whole blue screen room. He's ready to put green screen in there and whatnot. It seems amazing. I hear some people say that they think it's just going to be a phase, but I don't think so, man. I think VR is here to stay, and even like more and more powerful and intense as the years go.
Absolutely, yeah, it definitely is. I believe so. And like with now them becoming like they had the Vive, they had the Rift, because obviously Facebook owns Oculus, and now Meta, I suppose you want to say, because they changed their name. So I guess with such a big company backing them, they've got no choice but to actually to do what they've been set up. And I suppose with the metaverse that's coming out, very shortly, they sort of had the big trailer of there's all these virtual worlds coming together. That sort of was the outcome with buying Oculus, was to have these virtual headsets hooked up together and doing all that sort of thing. And
isn't metaverse not even going to be able to be a thing for a really long time? Because doesn't that actually mean like it is AR, but you can customize things about you and your surroundings? It's not actually VR. It's like
I thought it was VR. I swear it was VR, but I could be wrong.
I was watching a thing about it, but I haven't really looked into it.
Oh, okay.
I forgot about.
Yeah. Maybe it is AR. Maybe it is. I know Microsoft was doing their HoloLens. Do you remember that thing way back in the day? Well, it's not that old, I suppose, but yeah, they were kind of track this whole big AR world where you could literally like view it all in front of you, like these 3D holographic images that were like they were playing Minecraft in AR. Which was like it was kind of trippy actually. Yeah, this whole HoloLens. That hasn't come to fruition yet. I suppose they don't have the support to do that with holograms, because holograms are a very, very difficult thing to render, and virtually. Well, physically, I suppose you want to say virtually, it's not too bad, but physically, it's quite difficult. And that's going to be a while off yet as well, I guess, because if the hardware is not there, they can't do it. So, because I remember, talking also about AR, the Google Lens. Do you remember that thing?
No.
Oh, the Google. Oh, wow. Oh man, that was a throwback. They built it. They actually ended up building it, and basically what it was were like these glasses that had a camera that shone shined in, like this projector that shone into the glasses, and you could, it was almost like an AR thing. And it was almost like
shit.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. It was, and like they had, it was kind of like you could run like almost like a virtual computer on it. Like you could like watch YouTube, you could like send text messages, and it was almost like it would sync up with your phone. So it didn't have that much horsepower in it to do all that by itself. But they got banned, and then they just no longer funded the project because I think they're used a lot in industry professionals now. Like I think a lot of them for like virtual work environments and virtual like assistants and all that sort of thing. I think that's where they use them. But for the general consumer, yeah, people banned them in shops because they had cameras on them, because obviously they needed a camera to work properly, and because they had it on all the time, people thought they were getting recorded, and people thought they were getting, uploaded to the internet. And it's like, so they're like, oh, well, if we can't have our camera on all the time, then we can't work properly. And it's like, so they just basically don't get funded. And now it's a very defunct thing, which is a shame, because that's an innovative product and could have done a lot of things. But everyone's just too, I suppose the word that was probably around at the time was offended.
Right.
And triggered. So yeah, that's a bit rough. But we are right. Maybe we'll get there one day. But I suppose your AR with your phone. I guess Pokemon Go really took that off, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was actually going to talk about. But AR, like on my phone, it's very simple. It's just like a little. Actually, my phone was dead earlier, rip. But it's just like I can look around and I can draw in the air, and it's just built into my camera phone, and that's pretty cool. And I know that some phones these days with infrared sensors can pretty much take 3D models of things in front of them.
Yeah.
Which is something super cool. Like I know some cosplayers who use that to like get a face wrap so that they can like 3D print their face and have a face to work on. It's like, oh man, that's cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, that's very cinematography type stuff, isn't it? Really, like basically a lot of actors now just wear those black suits with those nodes on them, and they're sort of jumping around, and they have all these green screens. You don't even see what they look like. They're just actors with these morph suits with like all these green screen parts on them, so they can render a character into a scene. That's sort of what actors do now, which is pretty crazy. Actually, talking about like green screens and things, before we move on to it's a good segue actually. It's actually a game. Need for Speed Most Wanted 2005 was the first game to actually have characters rendered from real life into a video game. Like they're actually rendered in the video game engine based off, how you like the real life character.
That's cool.
Yeah, because they had that was back when EA cared about their consumers and their customers. No longer. But,
Rip.
But yeah, they actually they got actors and they rendered because they had a lot of cinematography people working on the project, because they sort of wanted to give you a feel of what Rock was. It was called Rockport was actually felt like, because these were the people that actually existed in the game but actually were real life people. So it kind of gave you that real sense of like that immersion. And I saw the whole back behind the scenes production of it, and it was really, for 2005, pretty freaking impressive. Like, you don't see that, you sort of don't even see that nowadays in a lot of cases.
I'm pretty sure in Apex, Watson, she was recorded by a person who doesn't know anything about like shooting guns and stuff, and that's why they say her character model looks so weird when she runs, because she kind of runs funky with her gun.
Oh, okay, interesting.
And it's because she doesn't know how to hold one.
Right. Oh, wow. There you go. That's really cool. Yeah. So like EA still trying to make it look like they care.
Right.
Yeah. But there's a lot of, and I suppose having it started all the way back then is pretty incredible. But that sort of has a nice segue actually onto a little bit about you and games, because I haven't really asked people about that on the show before, and I thought something a little bit more relevant to yourself rather than deep diving consistently into tech topics and all that sort of thing. So, yeah, what's your gaming history? What do you like? What do you do? Where did it start?
When I was a young kid, I had an N64, and I played a lot of like Duck Hunt with my sisters, and a little bit of Legend of Zelda, and stuff like that. But then my parents decided at some point, like, video games are not for girls, so you can't play video games. So
rip.
I would go over to my friend's house and, jam on the GameCube all night long. And my friends would be like, why don't you want to play with us? And it's like, I'm gaming.
Yeah.
Get out of my way.
Oh, that's really nice, actually. Yeah.
And then I took a long break. The first game that I started as sort of an adult, it was in high school still, but I played Skyrim.
Oh wow!
I played a lot of Skyrim, too much Skyrim, and since then I've just been I've been doing gaming. I got my own computer. I don't know, maybe it's been 3 years now, maybe just 2. But this was definitely I'm a gamer girl now. I can say it. I got my own PC. I built it. I'm I'm a gamer girl.
Oh, that kind of reminds me of... Oh, yeah, carry on. Yeah, you go.
No, yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I remember my partner is somewhat obsessed with watching Darman videos, and he sort of says, no, you're not a gamer girl, you're a gamer. You can't, you're not segregated into that community of, all gamers are gamers, and mobile phone gamers can sort of be in their own category a little bit. But, if you're a console, if you play PC, if you're a Nintendo, you play games. That's you, man. You're part of us, and that's sort of what I sort of hold close.
Thanks.
Now.
Even talking to some older folks, women on the internet, 20 years ago, what? There's a girl in this game?
Oh, I know,
and I feel a lot of people still feel that way.
Yeah, have that belief.
And it lingers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's and that's sort of part of that story again, was the fact that, there was this girl in this video who was kicking everybody's ass, and who was it? Yeah, someone who I was talking to about COD. That's right. Yeah. This New Zealand person who's really, really good at COD, and that's all she streams is COD. And she would purposely have put herself as a guy. No, she would have girl names, and people were like, no, this can't be a girl. Absolutely kicking our ass in COD way back, 5-10 years ago.
I love playing some Splitgate and then winning real hard, and then doing a little voice chat at the end.
Yeah. Fuck you. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, amen to that. Yeah, no, you've got to. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying not to keep it subjective or political or speaking my mind too much about that sort of topics, because that can sort of open a wormhole that you could talk about. And you could be here for hours.
True.
So yeah, no, absolutely, and I would wholeheartedly think that it's that's just who you are. You're a gamer, and you're in the community, and you're active, and you're wanting to have something that's supportive and inclusive, and actually just wanting to have fun, and that's what it's about. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you do. If you play games and you're going out of your way to have that sort of atmosphere and community, it doesn't matter if your name's Austin or if your name's Brett. That's just who you are, and that's what you do. So, yeah.
Right.
Yep. Absolutely.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Amen.
Well, thank you for having me. I do think that I'm going to go. It's been good, though. Invite me again.
Invite you again. Yeah. When can we find you?
I'm about to go live. I'm going to go and figure some food out. And then I'm going to be streaming some Minecraft with my friend Raven. Oh, hearts in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. No, very nice to actually see some audience absolutely. And although thank you for the questions as well, very, very good, and actually a little bit off topic conversation there, which was amazing. Thank you very much for switching that up a little bit as well.
Absolutely.
Yes, I'll be. I've got a couple of spots left for this year.
We'll be in touch about it.
Yeah.
We can figure it out.
Got one spot left for this year. I think that might be already filled, but I'm taking a couple of weeks off streaming in December, probably about
nice. Good for you.
for Christmas, and then I'll be back probably the second week of January. But in that time, I'm going to be scouting the whole of my Twitch and YouTube sphere to get some people on for the podcast, because I'm going to go ham with it. Depends on the uptake. Nice. It might be weekly, it might be fortnightly, but that's sort of. If you want to watch the VODs for this, if you missed out some of this, please feel free to
down below.
Feel free to watch. Go check out my YouTube. Actually, I've got the last 3 episodes now up on my channel, and this one will be there as well. But thank you, honestly, very, very much. This was a really, really good episode, and I'm glad the stream didn't die either. Unlike last week, so I probably don't even need to upload it. I could probably just export it, but it has to be within. That's all good. I don't. Got to take safety where safety's known to be a problem. And catch you. I'll certainly be popping in for a little bit at least anyway to you. Feel free to drop your link in chat again, so we can go drop some follows and say good day. Known this very polite lady for a few months now, and I think it's sort of thank you for being so welcomed into my community and welcoming me into your community. It's that's what it's about. That's what Twitch is about. Yeah.
I started the conversation today with that because I do feel that. Yeah, community is beautiful, and you're very welcome, and we'll see each other more, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, no doubt about that. No, thank you very much again. I will, and
Cheers.
I'll be live again on Friday for the new Let's Play. Borderlands is on the cards, and then obviously Saturday and Sunday regular Forza and all that Wreckfest as well. And feel free to catch her live in probably 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Yeah, I might go grab some food. We'll see.
Yeah, alrighty. Thank you very much. I'll catch you all again. See you in the next episode. Bye for now.
Bye, chat.
Bye-bye.